what, maybe I am spending too much time at work and that's making me uncomfortable. Maybe this guilt is giving me feedback. And sometimes to me, guilt is feedback that, you know what, you're overdoing something versus something. So if that is the case scenario, thank your guilt and say thank you for showing up, and I'll make sure that this week I have this launch, so I'm not going to be able to work with my child too much. But next week, he and I or she and I are going to go off on a 2-day trip to, some close by place, or I'm going to make it up to my dear baby. The other thing you can always do is struggling to balance my kid with my work and I'm feeling so guilty. Can you suggest some pointers on how to handle that? Absolutely, Swati. That's such a beautiful and important question for mothers, especially young mothers. If you are starting to work, I'm going to give you a few things to think about, okay? One, remember this, that all your time, if you are thinking, should be with your child. Anything you will do at work will be like taking away that time from your child. I would rather you segregate your day into this is the time I work and this is the time I'm going to be with my child. I always say this when people are building a new relationship with money, that if you're thinking every rupee spent is a rupee not saved, then you're honestly getting the equation wrong. I feel like mothers feel like 24/7 we need to or want to be with our child. So any time away is creating guilt. Now, any time away should not create guilt. Only the time that you were planning to give to your child should be where you should be guilty, correct? So, love for you to create a calendar. So, look at, okay, fine. If I wake up at 5:30 and my child wakes up at 7:30, then 5:30 to 7:30 in the morning, I can get some work done. The child starts his school at about 9 o'clock. He finishes only by 12 o'clock. 9 to 12, I can get some work done. Now, if you are able to segregate time for work and child separately, that is very helpful. The other thing I always talk about, the quality of that time, A lot of time, while you will feel guilty not being with your child, when you are with your child, you will be thinking about business. Now, that's where we make the big mistake. The big mistake is not how much time we give to the child, but how much time were we present while we were giving time to the child. So I would love for you to start to come up with beautiful activities that you can do with your child, which makes you and him, closer, or if it's a she, then you and her closer, rather than thinking that I need to be more time with the child. So look for how can you, like in the evenings, last 5 days, my son, husband and I have been competing on Sudoku. And it's been so much fun. So we start with an easier, move to a medium, and if we have the time, then we also try to attempt in hard. Hard is really hard, okay? So the easy and the medium takes about 30 minutes, and that's such a lovely way to spend time together. All three boys love playing snooker, so they bond over snooker. So looking for these kind of activities will be very helpful, okay? And then of course, management of guilt. So if you can start to ask yourself, what do I need to do so that I don't feel guilty towards my child? Maybe you'll want to take them out for lunch, dinner, spend time with them, look for activities with them, or just start to go that, maybe I am spending too much time at work and that's making me uncomfortable. Maybe this guilt is giving me feedback. And sometimes to me, guilt is feedback that, you're overdoing something versus something. So if that is the case scenario, thank your guilt and say thank you for showing up, and I'll make sure that this week I have this launch, so I'm not going to be able to work with my child too much. But next week, he and I or she and I are going to go off on a 2-day trip to, some close by place, or I'm going to make it up to my dear baby. The other thing you can always do is ask for help. One of the things as mothers, we land up thinking that the only one responsible for the child is me, while so is dad, so can be grandparents, so can be help at home. So if you can give people duty that, if 7 to 8:30 you can handle it for me, or if the school portion you can handle, there's no harm in asking. Remember that when you become successful, these are all the people who are going to enjoy your success, right? So there's no harm in asking. You can request your husband, you can request some helper at home, you can request the grandparents, you can request your siblings or his siblings. And you can mutually then give back. If they also have children and tomorrow you need to babysit them for them, why not? So like that kind of a barter works like magic. So look at if that option also exists for you. Sometimes we as mothers don't feel good enough to ask. We feel like this is our role, our responsibility. How can I ask? You can totally ask, okay, and be totally comfortable with it, because remember, it's always a barter of energy, right? So at the end, tomorrow you can babysit their children, or you can take their children for that lunch, or you can start to do activities with their kids, or you can go, you do the first half, I'll do the second half. So much can happen, right? So why should everyone have to give separate duty of school? Maybe one person of the house can sit and put all the 3 children in front of the computers with their headphones, yeah? So those kind of things, look for, I always say we women are so jugadu in our personality. If we want to find a solution, we know how to find a solution. So look for things to settle your guilt, and look for things to make your child's life more fun, more entertaining, yeah?